G'day, punters. Welcome to a massive edition of the Vic Preview Show this week. Back after a week hiatus last week, freshening up for the spring, but we've got a big edition. So we'll get into it. We've got a new sponsor of today's show, baggybet.com, www.baggybet.com. So if you haven't signed up, get over there, sign up, log in, see all their great promotions. We're running plenty of promotions over the next few weeks leading into spring and all the other sporting events that are coming up. And as always, puntingform.com. Everything we talk about today is powered by puntingform.com.au. Welcome to the boys. So this will be our panel moving forward throughout the spring. So Jack is back. How you been, mate?
Very good, James. We're looking at importing one more bit of talent to the show, but we'll just see how we go there. But yeah, very excited to come on from a different angle moving forward.
And maybe tell the punters out there a little bit about the new venture.
So I've been in the process for a long time of trying to get a license to become a bookmaker. We've secured that. We're operating now as baggybet.com. We've got an app in the App Store if you want to use it on your phone. And we're going to be trying to do bookmaking a little bit differently, but I'm excited to sort of be doing something different in the game. And so far it's been fun. It's been a bit stressful. It's been some long days and some, like, I know we're going to talk about ponies today, but geez, I've got a few opinions already on the dish lickers and even on the trotters because I've never watched more greyhounds in my life than I have in the last week.
Hey, how you been, mate? How's the last couple of weeks been treating you?
Sorry, I was distracted by that race at Dolby. I was doubled down on the drifting favourite, and somehow this legless fucking thing's knocked it off right on the line by a bloke with a 1% training strike rate.
Never a good way to start a show, is it?
Nah, apart from that, it's fine. I had a winning day for the subs on Yesterday, so I got a haircut today.
Just on side there.
Hopefully I can have a winning day today so I can have a shave. That's my next trip. But no, all in all, going pretty good.
It's like a Cosmo Kramer / Peaky Blinders sort of operation right now.
Well, I'm not losing hair like you, Jack, so, you might as well flaunt it. Take your hat off.
That's a real cheap shot. You've doubled down on the cheap shots. Right, that's what it's going to be like. I'm happy to play this game if you want to. Is this what you want?
How did that win?
Oh, God.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, good. Thanks, James. Great to be on the show. Looking forward to getting into the Memsie stakes and one at Eagle Farm.
That's good. Looking forward to it. We'll start off with the Mailbag Bloodstock, which has just been humming along nicely. We'll talk about a couple of runners that we do have over the next couple of days, and then we've got a small share in one that's just become available again that we'll have a chat about. But we've got a Pakenham tomorrow, Field of Roses for Gavin Bedgood, or as Shane calls him, Jesus, running there tomorrow at Pakenham. Jack, how's it going to go?
I think we're in a big chance. Someone else does too. They knocked it off, was it maybe 16s into 6s. Egan rides 3/4 sleeves. Billy, our man. Wide draw. I think it's okay. Pakenham. They sort of get out and get on if they're good enough. It's a better race than you'd think being on the synthetic. It's a richer race than normal. But I think we're in with a really good chance there on Friday tomorrow. Then we head to Caulfield Saturday, where we've accepted and are very likely to run from barrier 11 with I Could Do Better, which Shane got on the digital. It was our first ever purchase, Shane. We're very wobbly, just even pulling the trigger. Like, compare that to how wobbly we get now. We've had him at the races once. He was the 7th fastest last 100 metres of the meeting, puntingform.com.au, which gave a little bit more credit to the performance. The eye was a little bit worrying, but when you marry it up with the numbers, there's a really good performance. When he wasn't suited, there's a widest horse there all day. Mick D jumps off. Damien Oliver jumps on. Maddie, full credit to Maddie too. She drove the horse from Warrnambool to Caulfield on Wednesday to give him a look at the track again and give Ollie a sit. So the goat's already ridden him in track work on Wednesday, been to the beach this morning, ticked all the boxes. They're really happy with him. We're not going to preview the race, but there's a horse that Shane really liked in his last race that comes through with this one as well. That's Basiro, Shane. It's drawn barrier 9, I think. We're 11, so we're going to be right near it in run. Hopefully we can settle a little bit closer. And if the rain keeps coming, we're previewing this meeting, I think, James, on a heavy 8. If it stays that way, we're going to be a big chance. $21 is a very fair price. And if you want to roll home with us and you're not in the ownership group, I think an each way bet on I could do better as a sensible thing to do.
But if you are in the ownership group, we do have an opportunity for you today. And I would just like to thank everyone with the sales after these preview shows that we go through. So it's good to see everyone putting their hands in the pocket. And our owners that have come on board to getting an A-plus service with their pre-race work from Jono, and then also the post-race stuff. But we've got one for sale today. We'll have a look at the picture here. Her name is Boss Queen, trained by Kieran Maher and Dave Eustace. She's, as I said, she was fully sold out, but unfortunately we've had an owner pull out. So we do have some remaining, and I will advise to get in fast because to race next week at Ballarat. She's been nominated there, but she's had a couple of jump outs this time in, and the most recent one was the fastest 1,000-metre jump out of the day, and she finished second behind a pretty smart one called English Riviera, who was only 1.4 lengths off in a Blue Diamonds. What do you got, Jack?
Nice to see you in the morning. Josh Catalytic Kavanagh, who was actually our man. I think I could still consider him our man. He's actually Kieran Maher's data man now, raving about it. Look, it's a reasonably priced horse that has strong enough form lines to suggest it's got a little bit of upside. We're going to find out over the next sort of 2 or 3 months what that upside looks like. But yeah, it is as a bomb-proof opportunity for someone to buy into a horse and go to the races. We anticipate we're racing on Tuesday next week. I think it's 10% available, could be 5%, so it will be first in, first serve. Obviously, it's a pain in Jono's ass to deal with this sort of paperwork, but it's a nice opportunity for someone who wants to get to the races real quick.
Yeah, it is. And like we say, sort of waiting around, if you buy a yearling, buy some of these tried horses that go straight out to the paddock, sometimes it's that waiting around that kills you. But this one, she's going to go to the races next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And it's not breaking the bank, 2.5%, it's 1,753. So if you are keen to get involved, as always, Jono, Jono, at themailbag.com.au.
The other runner we should touch on is that we've got Keats, hopefully Wednesday, Sandown. So we bought him 2 Wednesdays ago, I think, and we were already looking to go to the races. That's how well it's going. So we do pray that mainly just Jesus, Bedgood gets it done again for us. But exciting times. The only thing I was going to add there was, watch the jump out. Get Jono to send you a link of Boss Queen.
English Riviera is a proper horse. It, as you said, it's got that Group 1 run in the Blue Diamond there, and then it come back and won by 10 lengths 2 weeks ago at Ballarat on the synthetic. And our horse was, really good behind it, and we're a Class 1 trialling against the Group 1. So, it'll go through its grades for sure.
Yeah, definitely plenty of fun to be had and sort of instantly as well. So, Jono, mailbag.com.au. That's all we've got to today from the Mailbag Bloodstock segment. We'll move into talking ponies, as Jack mentioned earlier. So we are going to do a runner-by-runner preview of the big one at Caulfield, the Memsie, on Saturday. But first, Shane thinks he's found us one up north, and we'll preview Eagle Farm Race 5, the 3-year-old plate over 1,200 metres. Take us away, Shane. I think we're going to have a look at the speed map first.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we've found one or found one to back or lay. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to talk my way through it. Let's have a look at the speed map here. It's race 5 at Eagle Farm. Spiritual Eyes is the very short price favourite. You can see it's drawn a little bit wider here, and there's a couple underneath it, which I think will have to be ridden to hold positions. Prince Shalar, Mr. Encore, and Master Showman. And then you've got something at any old odds drawn gate 7 just outside Spiritual Eyes. Now, Spiritual Eyes will begin okay, and then it'll muster speed. What I've noticed with this horse, he's pretty hard going sort of horse. and does run along in his races. And his lead times this preparation have all been in last 2 races in town have been quite quick for a 2-year-old colt, 3-year-old now, 3-year-old colt. So it's been leading and sort of winning comfortably enough. But I want to go back to its last start win. We'll start there. It was
look at that here.
This is like a small field, led quite comfortably. Diamond de Oliveira is behind the leader. Hang 5 is the horse in the proven thoroughbred colours, the black and green under the stick, making some ground late. So this is like a normal sort of action for this horse. He wants to go quick, wants to get it over and done with. Found the front. As I said, Diamond Delivery Era, I think you can pronounce it, and Hang 5 out wide. Now, there was one other horse that's come through that race, and that was Mashani Persuasion. So those 3 runners that had beat home that day have all subsequently run and failed dismally. So I started there thinking, well, this horse is a lay straight away.
This is the uncommon James dilemma.
Right? Absolutely. So then you look at the overall times on the day. Now, that was a race earlier in the day. It's actually run a quicker overall time than the Open 1200 on the day and the restricted 1 Metro class on the day as well, both 1200-metre races. So it's ran a quicker overall time than both of those. I can see why it's ran quicker than the 1 Metro win, because they walked, where the race 8, the Open handicap on the day, they went out in evens. It still ran quicker time. So looking at what it's beat, I want to be against it. Looking at the overall times on the day, it's performed pretty well. And there's been some winners come out of those other races on the card. So that was a bit of a grey up. But that was around Doomben, which suits that sort of horse's style. He jump and run along, and you can get away with that at Doomben. Go to his effort the 2 starts prior, where I was on it for the service, so half a pocket win here. And it was weak, the weakest last 100 you've ever seen in your life. Had the race shot, the bit traded, 101, got beat on the line and walked. Right? A bit like that thing at Dolby just there. So Eagle Farm, obviously harder, firmer, longer straight, like it'll be week late of that, just the way it races. Now, obviously now it's had 3 runs back. It stays at the 1200. It's a hard-going thing. If there's a half a knock in the yard, you want to be against it for sure. If it looks like it's had enough. There was talk after the race last start that this horse could potentially go to Melbourne, and I think I tweeted, like, maybe it should be going to Kilcoy. So because of that,
there's a lot of horses coming to Melbourne from Queensland at the moment, more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's because they're so poor down there. That's why. Once they saw King of Sparta win a group race, they just loaded the trucks. So now I'm looking at the map and I'm saying, well, what's the horse that can stalk this horse and peel off its back and run it down late? And the obvious one for me here is Prince Shalar, the 2. So he's stepping up to 1200, and he was a comfortable winner first up. He dashed really well from the 4 to the 2 and then was strong through the line. That was a 1,000-metre race in a small field, slowly run. So I think we're going to see a little bit like more of a genuine tempo here. So the question will be
the Blade, Boris Thornton too.
The Blade, whether he's going to be a couple of lengths off this horse coming to the corner, but he's got the entirety of the Eagle Farm straights to knock it off. So
he beat Hang 5 first ever start. Shane, who you just mentioned in the other race. So you can tie that together.
Yeah, you can tie that in. Hang 5 was a very short price favourite in a few of its runs last prep and just hasn't come back as good this prep. There's no doubt about that. And then you sort of got some horses that are drawn like Mr. Encore and Master Showman, who have showed speed and led in previous races or been right on speed. So you're sort of hoping – I'm giving them less of a winning chance. I don't think they're as good as a horse as Prince Shalar, but at the price, I expect, Spiritual Eyes to be lead and be very hard to beat, but I can't touch it at the price. And I'm going to have something on Prince Shalar to be the one that's going to be stronger of those 2 late at the end of 1200 when Spiritual Eyes is overdoing it out in front.
The 2 horses that beat by 2, like 3 lengths and 5.7 lengths have come out. They haven't won, but they've improved their benchmark figures. So that's probably another tick for you. It's Wicked Chance and Montana Lady there from the Prince Charles race.
Yeah, there's not a lot there, I suppose. But look, I thought that Spiritualized is exposed now. This prep, we know how he handles it. He goes out, he runs hard, he wants to go harder. Where Prince Charles just had the one run back off a good trial win and looks like an improver. So he can take a step forward where Spiritualized can't. It can. I don't think it can improve its overall figure.
I love this bet. It's already won 1,100 meters, this horse too. So the 1,000 to whatever's good.
Yep.
You did bring up a good point earlier, Jack. The uncommon James theory. You know, obviously on the show, Curls mentioned it hadn't been beating anything. Those horses in behind it then went on, and I think we backed every one of them, and they went on and weren't winning. How much weight do you take into that when doing the form? You know, obviously the horses in behind, if they then come out and flop.
I put a lot into it, but there's nothing in form analysis, in theory and your mantras and your structures that's like 100% bomb proof. So there's times where it's going to make you look real stupid, but you just need to know, well, like we've been around long enough now that I know it works for me. So there's sometimes it's going to make you look a fool, but there's plenty of times it sort of solidifies. It's more so for a horse I'd want to back or now keep tighter. Like it's another tick to say that what you saw and the numbers it did were good, because 3 of the 5 horses that have come out of that race have improved and gone really close to winning or have won.
Yeah,
it's just another, because there's always like, was that number right? Was that number wrong? But if from Shane's point of view, or if you're watching as a punter's point of view and you're deciding, well, I'm going to steam into this thing or not, if 4 of the 5 have come out of that race have gone awful, that's grey hairs. That's very head noisy.
Absolutely.
That be it, Shane, in a nutshell?
Yeah, I think so. Trying to eliminate as much head noise as possible, but I
think as a punter, your bets are like they're going like on a conveyor belt, and you're just trying to get rid of as many as you can. That's the way of doing it.
Nice. Well, that's Eagle Farm. That's the wrap up from up there. As I said, Shane only previously previewing the one race for us up there, Eagle Farm Race 5. But what we'll do, we'll move straight into the big one, the 1,400 metre Group 1 at Caulfield. Up on the screen there, you can see the odds, proudly brought to you by baggybet.com. I'll just read a couple out in the market. Cool. Won't go through all of them. I'm Thunderstruck, $7.50. Cascadian off a good trial, $7.50. Alligator Blood in the new ownership now and the new colours at $5.50. Equal favourite with one of Bob's horses, Western Empire. And we've also got the boom horse of the Spring Elation there at $6.50. So before we go into the runner by runner, we'll take a look at the speed map and see what that is telling us. What are we looking at here, Jack, and who's going to get all the favours?
I think particularly Snap Dancer, Tefano, and Alligator Blood make their own luck and get grouse runs, but really, really good runs. If the fence is off, which it could be, especially by race 8 on a heavy track, Alligator Blood, I think you take a couple of lengths off him. Lightsaber should make its own luck. Call Sign Mav's a really tricky horse to map here. It probably wants further, so it might not be able to keep up with them, but it does sort of want to get forward traditionally. Its jump outs have been really, really strong. So I wouldn't bet on where it lands in run, but I don't want to pen it at the same time.
Yep.
The rest of them, really hard to figure out. Elation's trialled enormous, so maybe they do be positive. This is like the kill they're trying to go for, or maybe it's not. I think of the get-back horses that look like they're flying and are Group 1 horses, the one that maps the best of those get-backers is Cascadian. I think it's Blake Shin riding it. You can set a little bit closer than you would have thought, but I just thought off the map, the bomb-proof horse off the map for me is Tefano.
I've got Blake as a negative on Cascadian. He's like he's not aggressive at all.
Yeah, I've like you can see from the map, I've got it worse in midfield, like the back half of midfield. But at the same time, I don't know which horses are going to go forward. Like I think Blinker's off Elephant, so it's not going forward from 9. I'm Thunderstruck's never been forward. First up, I don't think it goes forward. Duas is favourite for the Melbourne Cup, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not going forward.
He's there for a run around with targets ahead.
Bob's probably got this thing mapped out for the next 2 months. It's not going forward and getting used up here. There's just no speed. So maybe Cascadian is third pair just without trying.
So before we get into the runner by runner, let's have a look at last year's Memsie. And the winner was Behemoth going back to back, who has run 11 of 13 at Morphettville. And he won that Morphettville leading race both years before winning the Memsie.
I think he was protested in or out of one of those Morphettville ones.
He won on protest.
Yeah, that's
just
right.
Looking at this race on replay, this year's rendition looks a much stronger race.
I'd say, if you look at the history of the race, it's a really, really strong Group 1. Some of champion horses in this and near it for the last sort of 5 years back to Boban in 2015, 16. But Black Heart Barts, Humidors, Kementari's near it, big horses, good horses.
The big horses, and they've all run big figures, haven't they?
Vega Magic. Remember Vega Magic? Just broke their hearts, that beast. He ran one of the biggest pony form figures of all time that day. It's a good race.
Good race. Well, let's crack in. So, as I said, we'll go runner by runner, number, order, and the boys will sort of just talk you through their thoughts on each runner. We'll start with number 1, as I mentioned before, $7.50. The Mick Price horse, I'm Thunderstruck. We won't show his replay here. We will show his replay a little bit later in his jump out with Elation, where he went very well. What's his chances?
I think he's borderline cast from the map, needs to come back as good as he's ever been. He was a length to say 3 lengths below what he did the previous last preparation. The camp's absolutely airborne, and it's probably a silly thing to take him on. But I expect he'll drift. But I just see the map and the profile of the horse. I'm happy to risk it at the price.
I was going to say, tipping he'll run a better figure each time for his next 3 starts after he has a look around here and gets beaten 3 lengths.
I think they're talking Cox Plates with I'm Thunderstruck, aren't they? So he'd want to keep improving after Saturday. We'll move on. Horse number 2, Cascadian. We'll show a replay of Cascadian's trial up there in Sydney, where I thought he trialled outstanding behind arguably Australia's best horse, Animo.
Shane?
Yeah, well, you never miss these Sydney trials, do you?
It's not that hard. Is that because they're on TV in high definition?
Yeah, in high definition, and you've got a race caller there calling it.
They're on TV and they're tweeted by the broadcaster immediately after they cross the line, so it's easy to find the Sydney trials. I think that's a positive.
Massive positive.
Great trial. The question mark I have around this horse is we've seen all this before. He's an 8-year-old now. We've seen all this before. Great trialer. Nice flashy type that catches your eye, hitting the line week in, week out. How often are you going to go back to the well? It depends on how the track's playing on the day, how wet it is, how run on you can be, whether the tempo is going to enable these ones to run on. But definitely a chance, but it always is.
We probably cut that trial off just a little bit too soon. He hoons He's 200 metres past the post is probably what makes the trial as good as trials get. He's a nice trialer. Animo's the horse inside of him. Animo needs to be shaken up to be woken up a little bit. So I wouldn't compare him apples to apples there. But the Animo's already stamped the form if he hadn't already on Saturday just gone. I think they'll back it a little bit. Blake's just ridden a winner at Bendigo. Maybe that's enough momentum for him and the horse. But I think what Shane says is completely fair, but if he's going to run a race, it's going to be early in this preparation.
Yeah, we saw that last prep.
Yeah. All righty, moving on. At number 3, the horse in the new silks, in the new ownership. How's he going?
Shane.
There's so many angles.
There's narrative galore.
There's so much narrative here. It's how did Jerry get it? Does Jerry, did Jerry, how did he get out of it?
Does Jerry own it, or does Jerry own it on paper?
Oh, who knows? It's a bloody circus created by RV here. That's where the circus is being created. There is a rule. There's a rule that there's a rule why the horse couldn't race. Now the deal's done, the horse can race. Massive chance, this.
Huge chance. And I just to clarify, we're sure that everyone involved's done their due diligence and everything's above board. We don't question anything like that.
No way.
There's a great narrative to this horse, and I'm just grateful to see it at the races. Like, I'm glad we get to see it racing in Victoria.
I'll tell you what you can do, right? Anything it did when it transferred from D Van Dyke to Billy Healy, you just put a complete pen through it and pretend it didn't exist. And you have a look what it's done when Gay and Adrian have had it, right? Drew the car park in both its Queensland runs, should have won the BRC sprint at Group 3 on resuming when it's at 5D. And then it wins the Stradbroke, and when it's gone enormous, the way it won it. It's ran really good figures both times. Almost identical from terrible positions.
That's the scary thing for me. That they're identical figures. Like it's back.
It's back. And from the gate, I think you see it settling first three.
Huge jockey switch. Huge.
A massive chance. It
suits Oliver like Coffin or even 3-back fence. Just pushes out, takes his time like he's probably going to do in race 3, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, he's only going to have Snap Dance and Stefano in front of him, and he's a better horse than them two, right?
Oh, stand by. Snap Dancers, yeah, okay.
Come on.
It's biggest figure it's ever run.
Stefano has been sold to you long to go to stud. This is just a marking time exercise.
This
Alligator
horse,
Blood's the one. It's the best horse with the best map. It'll be winning.
Okay, so in the Guineas and the All-Star Mile, Alligator Blood, 12.7, 11.9. Then never went near him again, even with David. Now to come back, it's on a 10.6 and a 10.8. That's minus 10.6 and minus 10.8. That's faster than the all-average benchmark, puntingform.com.au. That's like 3-4 lengths off what traditionally is required to win this race. He needs to go to another level that other horses in this race have lived at for a while. I agree he's going to get it like every single possible this map. He's flying. I love the consistency of the benchmark figure he's run.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's like A1, Group 1 horse. He's thereabouts. But with this map and that rider and that stable, anything can happen.
And we've seen these early races in the spring, some of those horses that did campaign up in Brisbane with that residual fitness. So I think in a race like this, where there's only 2 horses that have had a run and everyone else is first up, maybe some of that Queensland winter residual fitness on his side.
James took the words right out of my mouth. Before he accused Alligator Blood of being a better horse than Tufane, I was going to mention that this is one of the horses with a little bit of residual fitness here versus a lot that don't. And if you look at the history of the race, it's horses second up, third up, fifth up that win this race. So you could lower the figure and then you could promote this horse for sure.
And what do we think, Jack, for putting your baggybet.com bookmakers hat on his price? Is that a price that you'd be, you think you get out and we'd be happy to lay at Baggybet, or?
I think the real movement will happen. I think there'll be some money for it from now till Saturday morning, but the real money will be decided through race 5 to the jump with how the track's racing, because it's barrier 1 and it's on pace. So right now that's tick. But come race 8 at Caulfield, if it's rained a little bit, which we hope it do for I could do better, that's going to be cross and the price will drift. So you just be wanting to see and not hear anything about rails and run not being suited. And you can check that if you're punting at home, use your punting form and map them after they've run the race and see where the first couple of horses across the line were, and are they all getting off the fence or are they staying on the fence, that sort of stuff. That'll dictate this horse's price late.
So use your puntingform.com data if you've got it out there, punters. If not, sign up to the mailbag.com.au. Buy Jackson's product with majority of the field first up, and some queries around the track pattern and a bit of rain in Melbourne. Will it be a drying track? That vital piece of information that Jackson sends out sort of 5-6 minutes before. is a key piece of
Pretty
info to making that final decision on your bet.
If you're ever going to get it, this weekend's the weekend to try. Like most of the races are like 4/5 first up.
Yeah, all the big ones especially. All right, we'll move on from Alligator Blood. Now, nonconformist, $41. Graham Begg trained. Is he any chance?
Started $12 in the PB Lawrence 400 metres, like first up last prep, and was like just a run. I thought. I don't think so. I hate the map.
Yeah,
no need to waste too much time on nonconformist. Then the real interesting runner next, and hard in the market. Equal favourite, Western Empire, one of Bob's over here. He won a 900-metre jump out at Geelong. That was just ticking over. Didn't really beat much. Thoughts? How can he go? It's a real sort of hard in the market. First up, very interesting runner for mine.
He settled fourth in run and won first up over 400 metres last preparation, and it was a pretty competitive number, especially for Ascot, which makes him very hard to pen. It's D-Lane. When D-Lane's like hot, he can sit sort of 3-4 wide, almost no covering, and they keep running for him.
Yep.
I think you can't pen the horse. It's just be hard to back him. I've got no idea what the price will do here. Just sort of sit back and watch it unfold here in the shed.
I think the key to this is the steward's report to see pre-race whether Bob's trying or not.
What do you mean?
Is there any way that we can get our hands on that?
Well, this owner is a complete joke for anyone that bets. Like they're on when he wants them to be on. I don't like it today. Let's either scratch or let's just go back to last and not pull out until late and just let it hit the line today.
Yeah.
Have any of his that have come over here?
So when you're saying, hang on, when you're saying steward's report, you're saying like the COD. The cot.
You know, like
change of tactics. Change of tactics.
Does that exist anymore, or
I don't know?
It doesn't. Should it? And it should in the big group ones like that. And that'd be a great piece of information here. Like
I reckon Sydney do it really well. Sydney, I like what Sydney do. Like when they ask trainers they have their rough map, of where a trainer would like to see his horse in run. Doesn't always work out that way, but it all helps in my opinion. But anyway, who knows?
So essentially,
market tell us late. I don't know.
You're incredibly great up by the wide draw, can settle forward, can win, makes it really hard for you here.
Like D-Lane, complete gun at riding tracks to how tracks are playing as well. Ticks a lot of boxes, this horse. Is it ready or not? I don't know.
Yeah, very interesting runner and very interesting to see what his price does now. And on number 6, Call Sign Mav. You had a little bit to say earlier.
I'll lift this thing.
Is that the one back for the service?
Something for subscribers.
Beauty.
This horse has jumped out really, really well. And again, though, it's barrier 14. You almost want a tactical notification here. I think they have to try and go forward. I don't know if J Mott wants to go forward, though. It's very, very great. I wish it didn't jump out any good, and I'd try and be big pricey. I think it's risk, but it jumped out amazing.
Shane, any thoughts, Call Sign Mav?
Is it going to try and go forward off its jump out? Like it looked good? Is it ready?
It jumped out like it's sharp.
Yeah.
It jumped out like if they go forward, if they're going forward, it's a bet. I'd say it's favourite to go back or be cast. It's a Group 1, like over 400 metres. The shoot at Caulfield 400 metres, you've got to jump and go and make decisions.
Yeah, look, I'm happy to be against it. Even if it does go forward and can get the right spotting run, he's still not good enough to beat the ones that are going to have similar runs to him at 1,400.
Elephant, our friend that we helped get into the All-Star Mile, who was $61. Blinkers off.
Now, James, just before we throw to Jackie, I just want to remind viewers that Jack tipped this horse for the Cox Plate when we were on RSN before we all got fired. Before Gareth left. Same. I knew Gareth was leaving, so I was being a real prick too. Like I was pushing the boundaries. Jack tipped this as these.
Can you believe that, James? He was pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Surprise.
Yeah, didn't settle from God.
So just a disclaimer, this was Jack's 2022 Cox Plate winner.
One of the many tips I'm going to give for the Cox Plate this year, it was well north. It was $200. $200 was available, probably still is.
I'd say 400s after last start.
We'll be winding it in at baggybet.com. I think the blinkers off shows no intent, and they need intent here. But I like how the horse got through the line. He was the third fastest last 100 metres of the race last start. He increased versus the day on the way home. I think he's going super, and I think he's on track. Just not this isn't his sort of grand final, and with this sort of map, I think you can risk him.
Yep. Great.
And number 8, Zayrek or Zyrek, whatever one that is. Apologies to the owners if I've pronounced it wrong. Damien Thornton rides the roughie of the field at 81. Has he got any hope?
I thought the trials were better than the price, and I'm very scared of the horse. Hard to add anything else other than that.
And it did run second in a trial at Rose Hill behind a horse will be winning Saturday. But yeah, I don't think
trial was very good. Very good.
Even look, I would say off the trial he's in for a good prep, but that doesn't mean he's winning Saturday.
And if the Blade's brother shows intent from 8, he could all of a sudden be sort of 3 back, 1 off.
Well,
could be an each-way play for our flary punter at home. Serious. It's not hopeless here.
There we go. One at $81 each way, punters. Zayrek. Moving on, number 9.
What are we going to say here? Like,
seriously. Number 9, Dragon Leap.
Dragon Leap. I've got not a lot to offer. Very minimal data to go off. Very, very scared of those silks and a Kiwi, but it's a Piero. Tap out and let the market tell me. It SP'd $9 versus Call Sign Mav once upon a time at Hastings. It's failed at Randwick behind Dreamforce. I think we can risk it, but
this thing 41s. This thing has to drift. Surely.
I think it drifts. Yeah.
I thought this was a chance to be the outsider of the field. I went back and had a look at its Newman trial. I don't know why it's here.
Yeah, nah. Might be the name of the show.
Lightsaber. Anyone? Let's move on. Number 10, Lightsaber, and the old firm Moody Nolan back together at their old home at Caulfield. Lightsaber currently $41.
The stories these two will tell when they retire from the game. What a combo.
Drinking 4Xs and smoking darts.
Out at the Dolby picnics on a Saturday Arvo doing
What's wrong with that? Lunch. Should be goats, but
I'll be there.
Bench and edges, man, Peter.
I'm happy to let it go. I can't.
I thought the jump outs were playing Shane versus what it did leading into last preparation. Hard to knock, a little bit of upside left, but I think the last 2 preps have been its sort of opportunity to break through. It's capable of a big performance. It's got a negative 14.6, but that was 4th up. First up, last prep, it went 3.5 above the all average, which is pathetic. And it went 6.9 last preparations. That's its last 2 preps. First up runs have been sort of way below what you'd expect is needed to win this.
Yep. Can't win.
Can win. Does get a nice map. But I wouldn't. I think it'll soften in the market, and I couldn't dream of backing it. But it's going to be right in the slot.
And moving on to the boom horse of the spring, Elation. Currently,
there's so much going on here. A
lot going on. Gives you real I'm Thunderstruck vibes of last spring. But
who Mark jumps off this horse to ride I'm Thunderstruck? I think Mark's probably the alpha, but I don't know. Both Mick Price trained.
What we'll do, we'll have a look at Elation's jump out there at Cranbourne in the Pick Silks.
Just while you're watching that jump out, instead of commentating the call, I'll just say the jockey switches here are fascinating. Jai's onto Fane.
Yeah.
Mark jumps onto I'm Thunderstruck, and Jamie picks up. Is that even the right? Is that the right play? Has Jamie picked up Elation?
Yeah, you assume
Yeah,
so.
but you'd assume, like, the ride you want is Elation or I'm Thunderstruck. They've got the most scope to win the most prize money this
Go forward.
So Jai might have been shafted. Might have been punted. The premiership jockey in Victoria might have been punted here, I think.
Mark might have chosen on Thunderstruck for the prep, and part of that means riding it today, Saturday.
I think that's favourite.
I think Elation needs to sort of get his rating up for some of the targets that they've got, but there he is in the pink. So you've got I'm Thunderstruck on the outside there and Elation in the pink. Not very hard ridden at all, sort of popping his head through to win the trial there. A very nice piece of work. 650 in the market. How's he map? I mean,
he maps awfully, and that's his big negative here. I think if he drew barrier 7, he'd be the one they come for. He still might be.
Right.
We saw I'm Thunderstruck, not this race, but like early on before it was a good horse with an awful map, just completely steam.
Yeah.
Just because they map back, they don't love it, but it doesn't stop them coming for him if they think it's the right horse. And this horse has absolutely, there's no negatives to the horse other than the map on Saturday. It hasn't lost. It's on the way up. Jamie Carr replaces Mark Zara. I would rather Mark rode this horse, to be honest.
Geez, I tell you what's going to happen here. When I can do better steams down the middle on this rain-affected surface at Caulfield,
race 3, that is
run 6 feet and a half length, Elation will be off the map because drawing wide and coming down the middle will be like if that's the pattern on the day, this thing will start favourite.
So back to your question, James, about alligator blood. Like if that was to happen as that comes out, this will be one of the ones that crunches in.
Yeah.
On Thunderstruck and this were the two that they really crunch for because they're guaranteed to get 3 wide line and they're going to get a chance if they're good enough, but they're going to cover 1,480 metres versus everyone else covering 1,400.
So if that happens, if that scenario plays out, who are you on? I'm Thunderstruck, the horse that's done it before at this level a couple of times, or the new kid on the block? Like if they both get that map and you can run on from 1,400 down the outside, who would you want to be on?
I'm firmly with I'm Thunderstruck. Who, if that does happen, that's wet. The track's probably wetter than you think. He's got wet track form, like in good races. I like him a lot. If that was the scenario, and I like Mark on get back run-ons. He's strong and can get over the top of the horse the whole way. I prefer Jamie on a quieter, more rhythm ride, if that makes sense. Yep. I think she keeps rhythm much better than any rider in Victoria. But Mark, to control a big horse and just make him go, probably prefer Mark. I think he's more suited to I'm Thunderstruck than she's suited to Elation. But for all we know, like, she's going to jump and settle midfield 3 wide cover.
She's like, just going off that jump out, I'm Thunderstruck looked like a horse that wanted 2,000.
Yeah, that's what they're training him for.
Where Elation looks like a horse that's going to coil up at 1,400 fresh and go bang. Where I'm Thunderstruck's going to grind.
I think there's a chance that if the track doesn't deteriorate, which I don't think it will, that Elation's the one they back.
Yeah.
And still trust it to run on here, even though they haven't run on a lot all day. I agree with that. But with the I'm Thunderstruck versus Elation for me before was about if the track got really wet and the inside was off.
Yeah.
But I think the 400 metres is perfect for this horse first up. I think this is much more in its hitting zone than I'm Thunderstruck. I agree, Shane Zane probably at 2,000 metres.
Yeah, well, I'm Thunderstruck's obviously got the Cox Plate in mind, and I think they'd be mad not to. The grand final for Elation would surely be the $55 million Golden Eagle or however much it is these days, which is only over 1,500. So,
how's Mick Price going trying to juggle the preps of these horses? He's got to be 5 or 6 genuine fucking Group 1 horses in this slot.
It's unbelievable.
It is, truly. Full credit to Mick.
Oh, full credit.
Anyway, the track pattern will, like I said, the track pattern will determine a lot of things, and it'll determine which one starts shorter than the other there for sure out of those two.
The track pattern won't affect this next horse.
Yes, I think
that's right, because
we'll
it
move
can't
on. But as you just heard, Shane said can't win. So we've got some real differing of opinions. This was the horse that I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to get stuck, these two to get stuck into it. Number 12, Tefane. As Shane mentioned earlier, was meant to be off. I think you long bought her for the breeding barn, but breeding season's passed, and here she is. $6 in the market.
Is she in five?
Well, we don't know, do we?
I don't know. Anyway, don't let the truth.
Maybe this is one more throw at the stumps before they surely go and see Rick
next year.
Anyway, but Tefane. So Jack clearly in Tefane's corner. Shane clearly not. Take it away for us, Jack.
Well, Baggy bets 2 rolls under the market, Tefane, and will be probably until I see a reason not to be. I think she is bomb-proof from the map completely. She's bomb-proof from the track, whatever sort of track I'm comfortable she's going to get through it. She's the perfect sit for Joel McNeil. This is a good jockey switch for him. This suits him. She won a Group 1 CF4 first up 400 metres Caulfield last preparation on a good 3. She's got SP profiles for days and days and days. And I just think I don't want to lay her, and I've backed her. I think it's simple. It doesn't matter what happens, you're going to get a run for your money with this horse. The way the track's playing, she's going to Jai can pocket Alligator Blood and be 1 off, or if it's real bad, he can be 2 or 3 off. He's got tactical speed and the perfect gate. I love this horse. I love it as a bet, and you could back it each way at the price. It's track and trip stats. It's had 3 starts this track and trip for a win and 2/3. This distance range, 7 starts, 4 wins, 1 second, 2/3. This track, 7 starts, 2 wins, 1 second, 2/3. Just a solid horse.
And we saw her just poking around a nice little 800-metre jump out at Flemington there. So as you've heard, Jack, very hard in the corner of Tefane. You're going to get a run for your money. $6 at the moment. Do you think she starts?
It's $7. It is $7 everywhere else.
Yeah. And do you think she starts favourite?
No. I think she starts closer to favouritism than she is now.
Yeah.
I think we'll see the market evolve as the track sort of reveals itself, but she won't be influenced by that.
And in the red corner, we've got Shane heavily opposing Jack's Tefane bet. Thoughts there, mate?
Wasn't it lovely to hear Jack read off the screen about, 10 starts?
Yeah. It just reminded me of being down the pub on a Saturday and you're reading those old tab sheets. And that's how a majority of the punting do their form on a Saturdays, just reading off a sheet.
You can see Jack there with his bench and edges smooth. Got his best bets out.
Feeding 50s into the time. Feeding 50s into the tab
Let's have a look at this though. This horse doesn't have a 1,400-metre figure that should be afraid of versus some proper horses like Alligator Blood. Like they got the same figures, right? And she's always blessed in run because of her racing style. She can't improve. She's a 7-year-old mare that's been sold to stud. She ain't improving her benchmark, and her benchmark figures are -10. So she's going to need track, map, and luck all in her favour to win.
Yeah, well, I think she's favourite to get all 3. That's my point.
But there's about 4 others that are going to get the same runs. They're going to get map track, favours as well.
The horses with the big 14s and 15s don't map near it, or have a heap more weight than they had when they got them, or things like that. I can see she's going to run a 10 or an 11. Yeah. I just think it's going to go very close to winning this year.
Yep. You're that petrified, you're 2 rows under everyone else.
I thought I'd just do something. At least I'm doing something about it. We'll be bigger price as other horses, and we're going to be under this horse. We're going to have opinions. I'm going to have an opinion. She's
been a cracking horse, no question about that. My question is, whether she can come back as a an older mare and continue to reproduce. I think that's got to be something. I know that she had a good Queensland campaign before going back to Caulfield and then, running behind Behemoth. And she's got, like as Jack said, got a good SP profile behind Incentivise, Behemoth and Colette, which are all, proper horses as well. So there's definitely a few ticks there. But, I'm happy to sort of think that she's past her best.
So Jack firmly in the corner, Shane opposing there.
But I lay it in place as well.
I'm gonna throw something out here off the cuff. Surely, with these differing of opinions, there's some sort of side wager here between you two.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what we're allowed to do there, James.
And you're both real flary characters, so not just a slab or a night out. I'm going to give you a bit of time to think about it.
Shane actually owes me a night out already.
I'm going to give you a bit of time to think about it, and we're going to post it in the comments under the show when we have, and we're going to let all the viewers out there know the flary side bet, Alligator Blood v Tefane head to head.
I'm happy to take an Alligator Blood. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, can we just wait until after race 7 and then tweet it? Because there's a lot of changes between now and race 8 at Caulfield on a Saturday.
Gee, for two blokes with really strong opinions, so I've thrown a little side bet out there and you've both sort of quivered up into your corners.
I was going to say we could probably face off at the MCG, Sydney, Melbourne next week, but the last time I went to the G, I didn't see one kick live. I can't remember leaving.
That's why he owes me a night out, because he basically just sucked the life out of the whole one. It's just the Ciurleo show. Unbelievable. Look me in the eye.
I was on a different planet. Anyway, over to race 2.
Anyway, we'll move on. That was Tefane. Moving on to horse number 13, Dues. Surely running around, got much bigger targets.
Yeah, I think
we do see these stayers come back and resume well over 1,400 in years gone past, the good ones anyway.
Resume well. It'll have a really nice performance. It'll get through a long great, but I don't think it can win. Humidor got back and won, but Humidor's like Cox Plate horse, not a Melbourne Cup sort of. This is a stayer. I'm happy to risk it.
Yeah, this horse got beat by Very Elegant over 1,600. That's not good enough. Won't be winning here.
And last but not least, number 14, Snap Dancer, currently $10 on baggybet.com.
What a horse.
Yeah, it is a good horse.
Snap Dancer is, because it's like it won a Group 1.
Group 1 winner, Snap Dancer.
And then it just got beat by that little pissant Star Tontes in a Group 1 in the Tats Tiara in the winter. Remember, we're on Star Tontes. There's 2 runs back from a spell at like double figures.
Yeah,
and then it comes out and wins a Group 1 2 starts later. She's a piss.
It's like it should be a bigger price, and it will be a bigger price, and we'll probably take it on. But it can win. It just doesn't have. It's got like that one Morphettville benchmark figure that I think's near what's needed to win this, but it makes its own luck. He rides his horse so well. That ride when he lost at Doomben, I thought was a peach.
Yeah, I mean, that's the query, isn't it? 1,400, if it's rain affected and being, first up. I just hope it diggerises Tefane.
Oh, I think this is the horse that we'll be taking on in the next couple of days at baggybet.com. If it rains, they can't win.
No.
But even without rain, I think it's up against it, and it should be probably double the price it is at the moment, and it probably gets there.
Yeah, I think it will.
All right.
I think it's a place like
that's our runner-by-runner preview of the 14 runners of the Group 1 1,400 metre Memsie at Caulfield on Saturday. Some great opinions there from the boys, some differing opinions, which is also good. What we'll have a look at now before we close the show is the best bets overlay. Shane has, as you've all heard just then, is alligator blood in the Memsie. Jackson
Oldham is race 7, passive aggressive.
Already sent a out for the subscribers, the mailbag.com.au subscribers to his service. And Jack's best on the card, race 2 at Caulfield, number 7, Saigon, currently $5.50 at Baggy Bets. All right, gents, it's been a good first show back. As always, powered by puntingform.com.au and our new sponsor on board this week, www.baggybet.com. If you haven't signed up, sign up, get over there. As you've heard Jack with his bookmaker's cap, literally bookmaker's cap on in today's show. Happy to take a few on. So if you're keen for a bet, jump over to baggybet.com before Saturday. Sign up. The apps are now live. We've got some great offers on site. Any parting words, gentlemen?
If you want a back snap dancer, baggybet.com.
Shane, take us away.
No, nothing to add really. They're moving up at Dolby for race 9. I'm on I Promise You. And I'll be betting tomorrow if you're watching this show tonight, I'll be betting from the yard at the Gold Coast tomorrow. And then 3-track Saturday. So mailbag.com.au/shop.
Accountable betting advice. Accountable betting advice. And it is very, very crucial this time of year. Sydney and Melbourne. Rob Scurry put on an
absolute yesterday.
I see him rolling through. Oh, yeah. Like he's airborne, and Jackson Oldham found a way to win in a dirty, wet, yuck Sandown meeting yesterday. So they're both going really well. You need it. If you want to bet, you need it this time of year.
Three blokes in stable relationships just going to the track and betting their little butts off and winning. Beautiful.
All right, punters, thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, get around us. Enjoy your weekend on the punt. If you are gambling, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next week.